Hey everybody, Prophetic here. It's been a while. So, as many of you know, I love me some Aeon desktop. Um, it is fantastic distribution, a variant of OpenSUSE Tumbleweed built on top of Tumbleweed, but it's totally done very differently, very opinionated. And for those who don't know, it's created by Richard Brown and one or two others, but Richard Brown is the main lead. Officially broke away from Micro OS, which was originally started as a pet project, experimental thing with Micro OS as a server. What if you throw on a desktop on there and see what comes from that? Basically, Aeon, it is re-provisionable. Most people use immutable, but it's really the term we should be using is re-provisionable. Basically, you have everything read only, except for like two places, etc and var slash var, and everything you do is in distro box containers and Flatpaks. So it's not for everyone. If you want to tweak, go to Tumbleweed and Leap. Because of the use case of containers, if you're a developer, you can just play in your containers. On the flip side, ironically, it also is good for consumers who want like a Chromebook-like experience. Here's a video where you can kind of deep dive on the origins of how it came about. Note that it's a little dated, and where we are now is definitely not where this originated from. So this gives you the origins. So, meant to be reliable, predictable, definitely less customizable, and it should be. Here's a key that kind of sold me years ago: was a small but not at the expense of functionality. So what I loved about Aeon off the bat was the printing. One of the small touches that were very powerful for me was like, oh wow, my gosh, printing just works. All my media and stuff just work because I was using Flatpaks and the codecs were built into Flatpaks. And when I made a request for some work-related things to be baked in, they accepted it, and it was just another example of like things just working out of the box. If it makes sense, Richard would accept it and punch it through. And sometimes that's not always the case for developers. It's just whatever they want. So, of course, but it's very opinionated, so there's a lot of no's that go along before you get a yes to some things. But regardless, it's a powerful piece of software. Richard is pretty much like trying to land on the final stretch of getting an official release done. And some of the things I learned was that there's a good chance that GNOME sharing that was part of GNOME 46 was not going to be part of Aeon. It's going to be out of scope of the use case. So that kind of made me think, hey, I've been really wanting to see this happen, and I have this weird thing where if I own a machine, I should easily be able to access it from wherever I want with the help of Tailscale. So obviously those things clash. There's still a chance he might include it, but no official answer yet. And I was just like, you know what? Let me experiment with this Plasma 6 stuff and see what all the hoopla is about, because the things I watched and read about is pretty impressive. So overall, it's Plasma. It's actually not that crazy different, right? Like we have a lot of things that we're used to already. But there's definitely some things that are nice and modern and cool that they're tackling. Here's the problem, for me at least, is that there's still some cruft, even at the 6.0.3 release, or 6.1. Which one was it? The 6.0.3, yeah. So it's not a point release yet. So I should expect that there's still some, cruft to iron out. But I just wanted to quickly go through some of my problems with Plasma because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be uninstalling this today or this weekend. Basically, I just go off the top off my list here because I literally have a page of things here. One, Krunner. So this might be a thing that's only for OpenSUSE, but if I highlight something in the past, let's say I did something earlier, while I was working, I did highlight text. If I highlight something and then call up Krunner, it brings it in. I did all the settings where I disabled history. I even disabled pretty much all the plugins except for the Find Applications and Panel Services. And for some reason, when I highlight something, it drops it after the cursor drops after the text. So it happens on the first run. It doesn't happen on the second run. So if I call it now it's highlighted. Do you see that? So in order for me to actually run something from my launcher, I either have to backspace it out like a caveman, or I have to highlight it and double click and then exit out, or I have to call it up twice, exit, call it up twice, and then pick up something from here. I submitted a bug, and I asked someone to replicate it, and it doesn't seem to be replicated from Arch. So this might be a weird thing with OpenSUSE. So I might have to go to OpenSUSE's Bugzilla instance and report it there instead of going to Plasma. Maybe I should have started with Bugzilla and OpenSUSE first and then work backwards. But regardless, not much of a runner if I have to launch it twice or finagle it, right? It's supposed to be instant. Boom. I'm trying to work. So then I write bug reports for that. So now in the meantime, I'm trying to use Kupfer. Good old GTK Kupfer. So there's that. Console. I changed this host name and rebooted twice through Yast. Didn't take because I'm on Tumbleweed. So I'm pretty much done with Yast. Maybe it's a Plasma thing, maybe it's a Yast thing, maybe it's both, I don't know. But if I'm submitting my logs from Pastebin or something, and they see, oh, it's Aeon, this is the reason why it's not working, and then they're thinking it's actually an Aeon system when it's not. So when I do a Pastebin, I have to actually go in and delete Aeon from the Pastebin and then manually put like Tumbleweed or something because it's not taking it. Maybe because it's one of the profiles I'm not using right. Because I did mess with. And by the way, what in the world? Why do you have settings here? And then I go to more and I have settings here. This is another thing about Plasma that drives me a little nuts. And I try to hold back and I try to like be chill about being critical and highly picky. But I am a little picky. This is really, 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 really overkill. I have two settings here. Bonkers. Manage profiles. So maybe if I set this one as default, let's see if it takes it there. Maybe it was my problem. We're doing some live debugging. No. Still reads Aeon. I don't know. I'm trying to be conscientious of the fact that is user error. Tilix didn't work here. Might be a Wayland thing. I mentioned the cave runner thing. I did notice that sometimes this did not work all the time, but it could have been a Wayland thing. So I'm on X11 now. When I wake up from sleep, my Wi-Fi doesn't connect right away. It kind of just sits for like 30 seconds, and only when like I notice that something's hanging when I'm doing a search. I'm like, why is Google taking so long, or why? Oh, it's because I have to wait for my Wi-Fi to connect. So there's a delay on the Wi-Fi. That's really annoying. And then sometimes you do see that if it doesn't connect, and I guess it times out when it's trying to connect after waking up from sleep. Actually, I think I just hung my system now. Yeah, clicking on. Okay, so notification area, that's number 8 issue, hanging. You'll see sometimes that it's like no secrets were shared. And I have to wait again and then connect again. So there's something with the notifications that's not where you're going. This is more like a Wayland thing maybe, but Ksnip, I don't care what anyone says, Ksnip is probably the best tool for taking screenshots. I don't care what anyone says. It's the best. Okay. I think the only thing that will make Ksnip a little better is some changing of the placements of the color stuff here when you're switching colors out, especially for text. And then also the resizing. Flameshot. Oh, there we go. See how annoying that is. Flameshot has one benefit that I would love to see it do, is when I am writing something, I can use my scroll wheel on my mouse and resize it perfectly. How dope is that? That's so killer. If it did that, I think it'll be the best ultimate of all time. I use a lot of you can tell I use a lot of screenshots for work. Anywho, with Wayland, Ksnip wouldn't work, and Flameshot would almost work. And I have to get work done. So, yeah. And then when I do the print screen here, with Spectacle, by the way, why can't I go left? My mouse cursor, I can't go left. It throws me into system settings. I cannot. So I have to use my mouse to do that. I'm not even going to count that. So rectangular region, boom. Press enter. Now I got it. Now I'm going to do some annotation tools. Where's the text? There it is. I thought I picked on pink. Press OK. Pink. Okay, good. And then I can increase the size there. Okay, so I could maybe end up using Spectacle on Wayland, but I think I also had something issue going on with Wayland too with the Spectacle, but that may be a saving grace there. Just use Spectacle. Yeah, the no change in the host name is pretty annoying too. like I mentioned earlier. So just a lot of little things. And then the fact that I have to report that bug, and then actually for Tailscale I ran into issue with the host key, or the signing key was unknown, so I did a bug for that. But that could be user error. But so basically, it's like death by 1,000 paper cuts. It feels so good to use Plasma again, because it's like I love one of my favorite things is to drag the mouse around, and so nice to do that. I have a lot of things that are very similar to GNOME, which is the overview. It's so nice, so good. But I just feel like I'm always using, even when I was using the 5 series, the 5-point release, the mature 5 release, I still felt like I was using like an unfinished product, like a beta or release candidate software. And I wish I could be like y'all that can just work around it, or you don't see it or feel it, but I'm so sorry. I just can't ignore these things. They add up. And I used to be like a huge tweaker, like I want to be a tweaker and continue being a tweaker. Like I went through a lot of the settings, and I said I'm going to give myself just a half hour, and I'm going to bang out everything I want. I logged it in a Google Sheet and said, this is what I set up, so in case I have to do it again for some reason, I can easily run through my list. All right, I set it up to this pressure to move, milliseconds to move this over, set the magic lamp to minimize at this speed of the animation. Like I tweaked it all, because I was like, all right, I'm going to try to commit to this, and even if I have to reinstall for some reason, at least I can, let's say if I go to Plasma in Fedora or Plasma somewhere else, at least I can have these settings, because I've really committed to like trying to use Plasma 6, or Arch. But I was like, so yeah, I'm going to reinstall something. I don't know what yet. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to be Plasma, though. I might just go home to GNOME. And, another thing with Aeon, there's a chance where will only support, I think it's TPM 2 or 3 only. And my machine is pretty ancient. Look at this. i7 3 series. That's old. Super old. Still powerful. Kicks, really kicks butt. Still, for just running a desktop, and I'm not doing some crazy great gaming here. 16 gigs of RAM. I'm good. I know I'm fine. But there may be a chance where Aeon will not, be able to be run on this, or I might lose out on some feature because it's not TPM 2 or 3 or something like that. I haven't really been following too much things lately on Aeon too much, but I get the vibe that as we're getting closer to official release, there may be some things that might not make the cut in the final release that were there before. And instead of waiting around and finding out, I am tempted to just pull the trigger and just jump somewhere else. Anyways, Joed signing off. Peace.